I still remember the moment I realized something was horribly wrong. The streetlights had disappeared hours ago, replaced by darkness so thick it felt like it was pressing against the bus windows. And then he spoke a single .com sentence that made my blood run cold. I wasn't supposed to find you yet. It started like any other school field trip. Our class had visited the local history museum, a dusty place with old weapons, faded portraits, and enough taxidermy to make a few of us nervous. The trip was supposed to be boring but safe. I was just a quiet kid, sitting near the back of the bus, headphones in, trying to avoid the chaos of my classmates shouting and swapping snacks. The ride there had been normal. Our teacher, Mrs. Larkin, took attendance multiple times, joking with the driver about staying on schedule. By the time we were leaving, everyone was tired, but happy, clutching small souvenir trinkets. I remember the bus humming steadily along the familiar route, headlights cutting through the early evening mist. At first, everything seemed normal. The bus driver, a man we only knew as Mr. Harlan, made the usual turns. But about 20 minutes into the ride, I noticed we weren't heading toward town anymore. The familiar houses and street signs gave way to long stretches of empty road lined with thick woods. I tapped the shoulder of the student next to me. "Hey, isn't this the wrong way?" I whispered. He shrugged, distracted by his phone. And I turned my attention back to the window. The sky had darkened faster than I expected, and a strange fog was settling over the road, wrapping the bus in a gray haze. The hum of the engine suddenly sounded louder, like it was the only living thing in the world. I glanced forward at Mr. Harlan. He didn't look up from the wheel. His hands gripped it tightly, his eyes reflected a strange gleam in the dim dashboard light. When someone finally asked him if we were lost, his response made everyone freeze. "We're fine," he said smoothly, but there was a tension in his voice that I couldn't place. Then, without warning, he muttered, "I wasn't supposed to find you yet." The bus went quiet. Even the usual chatter of my classmates seemed to die down. My stomach turned over. Was it a joke? A mistake? No one laughed and the driver didn't smile. He just kept staring straight ahead. Panic began to ripple through the bus. Some kids pressed their faces to the windows, trying to recognize any landmark. But it was like the woods had swallowed the road whole. The fog thickened, and every tree that rushed past the headlights looked like it had a face. Whispers seemed to drift through the mist, or maybe it was just the wind. Mrs. Larkin tried to calm everyone, her voice tight but steady. "We'll get back soon. I'm sure it's just a detour," but I knew it wasn't. There was something wrong with the way Mr. Harlan was driving. The turns didn't follow any known road. Every mile took us further into isolation. The headlights flickered once, then steadied, and the engine made a low groaning sound, like it was straining against some invisible force. I remember the smell first, something metallic, sharp and almost sweet, like rust mixed with decay. I looked around at my classmates. Some had pulled their hoodies over their heads trying to hide. Others whispered prayers or clutched their knees. I felt my own hands tremble, though I tried to sit still and breathe. Then it happened. A figure appeared on the road, just ahead, standing perfectly still in the middle of the fog. Everyone screamed. Mr. Harlan slammed on the brakes, and the bus shuddered violently. When I blinked, the figure was gone. Nothing but the fog remained. But the unease lingered, thick and heavy. Minutes or maybe hours passed. Time felt wrong. Every turn, every stretch of road seemed longer than the last. The fog thickened, pressing against the bus windows, and I could swear shadows were moving just outside, watching. Whispers floated in the back of my mind, words I couldn't understand, pulling me toward panic. Finally, Mr. Harlan stopped the bus in a clearing. The headlights barely reached the edges and the trees looked like they were leaning in. He turned to us, his calmness terrifying. "I told you," he said quietly. "I wasn't supposed to find you yet." Nobody moved, nobody spoke. Even Mrs. Larkin, who usually commanded authority, seemed frozen in place. We all understood in that instant that we had crossed into somewhere we weren't meant to be, and Mr. Harlan wasn't the driver anymore, not entirely. Then, without another word, he started the engine again and drove off, vanishing into the fog as if the clearing had never existed. We eventually found our way back to familiar roads, but the memory of that night has never left me. I don't know why he took us that way. I don't know what would have happened if he hadn't found us. All I know is that sometimes, when I pass that stretch of road near the woods, I swear I see headlights flicker in the distance, and I hear a whisper, soft and calm, "I wasn't supposed to find you yet."